My House of Horrors Chapter 721 to 780. The chatter slowly flowed into his ears, and his skin felt a warmth that he had not felt for a long time. His palm felt like it was being held, and the feeling of falling finally disappeared. His heavy eyelids slowly opened a slit. Doctor, can he still be saved? Normally, we would faint inside a haunted house, but not for such a long time. Will he ever be able to wake up again? The familiar voice entered his mind like someone was calling from the other side of heaven. His consciousness slowly returned, and the memory surged from the corner of his mind. I'm visiting a haunted house. Yes, I remember now. Wang Yan wanted to open his eyes, but even with all his might, he could only lift his eyelids slightly. Yang Cheng, the student council president? Why is a fourth-year senior here? There are so many people. Wang Yan wanted to say something, but his pale lips could not move. This should be fine. Don't worry, based on our experience, he will wake up soon. The doctor coughed dryly. Don't just stand there and watch. Move away, keep the air flowing. The doctor and the park workers chased the crowd away. Wang Yan looked in the direction that they had retreated. He was lying on the steps of the haunted house's entrance, and all around him were the visitors who had come to watch the show. They discussed among themselves. Some took out their phones to take pictures, some were recording, and some even opened their own live streams. I think I'd better faint. Wang Yan tried his best to turn his head to the side. He did not want to become an internet celebrity because he fainted inside a haunted house. His eyes wandered, and Wang Yan's peripheral vision swept to his side. Only then did he realize that he was not alone. On the steps of the haunted house, there were 10 visitors lying in a row. Every face was so familiar. They had entered the haunted house together, and now they were all lying together. Perhaps this was the cohesiveness of a team. Seeing his teammates, Wang Yan did not feel so bad anymore. He slowly closed his eyes. At least, I was the hero for a few minutes. The heat wave reached the sky, and the scorching sun could not stop the visitors' passion. This was the first time a 3.5-star scenario had been opened, and all 10 visitors had died. This could only be described as spectacular. F***ck. Fortunately, I didn't go in impulsively just now. This is the best decision I've made in the first half of my life. This new scenario is way too brutal. According to Mr. Chen, this is only a 4-star scenario, and its difficulty is only between 3-star and 4-star. Quote, if the devil has his own name, then his surname must be Chen. Mr. Chen. Hello. Under your leadership, New Century's haunted house has reached a new height. Is it convenient for you to tell me how you did all that? Pushing the cart, Chen Ge was surrounded by a group of tourists. He did not expect that the death of all 10 tourists would cause such a huge commotion. First of all, I am very glad that the haunted house has gained everyone's approval. This haunted house was left to me by my parents. It is my hope. That is all I can say. Chen Ge searched for Shushu in the crowd. His original plan was to use this visit to raise the reputation of the 3.5-star scenario and at the same time, promote the upcoming 4-star scenario. However, to his surprise, the effect was beyond his expectations. The visitors were too excited, and even he was trapped. Mr. Chen. We know that building a haunted house is not an easy task. Looking for inspiration, writing the script, designing the props, you must have run into many difficulties, right? What is it that allows you to face all of that without fear? Seeing the expectant eyes of the visitors, Chen Ge could not reject them. I've poured too much emotion into this haunted house. From the creation of the scenario to the visitors' experience, that kind of anticipation and joy is something that others will not understand, so the difficulties that you mentioned are nothing compared to this. I have a sense of responsibility in my bones. I tell myself that no matter what, I have to make the haunted house the best I can. No matter where I go, I will carry it in my heart. It has become a part of my life. Hearing Chen Ge's answer, some of the visitors could not help but nod. Only someone who had poured his heart and soul into the design of a haunted house would be able to create such a scenario. Look here, Mr. Chen. I am a visitor from Shanghai. Just half an hour ago, the most famous haunted house in Shanghai, Nightmare Academy, wanted to come to your place for a learning exchange. What do you think about that? Nightmare Academy. Mr. Chen signaled for the crowd to disperse. He pointed at the few people lying on the left side of the steps. They are already here, but they are not here for a friendly exchange. Regarding that, I am saddened by it as well. In the future, I will personally pay them a visit to Nightmare Academy to explain this to them. Quote. Mr. Chen, I just saw Huang Hu live streaming the inside of the haunted house on a certain platform. I even saw you appear on screen. Do you mind telling us what happened earlier? Our family of 9 and the cat are very curious. Quote. You can follow my livestream account for the details. I will tell you on my livestream in the future. Mr. Chen. There are people online saying that your haunted house is really haunted. I wonder if that is true or not. How can there be ghosts in the world? Everything is just a rumor. If you don't believe me, you can find the person who spread the rumor, and I will confront him face to face. Chen Ge's smile was always so warm. He was kind to everyone. Alright, it is time for me to go back to work. Even though I am the owner of this haunted house, I am also one of its employees, and I am still at work. After finding an excuse, Chen Ge finally escaped from the crowd of visitors. After he returned to the haunted house, he sighed in relief. Scaring 10 visitors at once, any random title will be able to attract people's attention. Hopefully, Director Luo will be able to suppress the negative impact of this incident in case someone with ulterior motives uses it against them. Chen Ge had created a sharp blade for Director Luo to promote the theme park in the haunted house. If he used it well, he could severely weaken the futuristic theme park's momentum, but if he used it improperly, he might end up hurting himself. Every time a new scenario opened to the public, it would cause a commotion. That was what Chen Ge was after, and it was because of that that he had placed 2 red specters in Liwan City at the same time. Jogging all the way back to Liwan City, Chen Ge first found the headless woman. After comforting her, he went to Liwan City to find the red high heels. In terms of luck, the red high heels was quite unlucky. First, she had fought the glutton monster and used all her power. Then, she was caught up in the battle between the Shadow, Zhang Ya, and Dr. Gao. Her injuries piled up, and now she was just an empty shell. You look like you're in a good mood. Chen Ge sat at the door of the morgue and studied the red high heels in his hand. You've done a good job this time. If you want to come back in the future, you can come back anytime. My haunted house will be your second home. The red high heels' special power was curses, and that was similar to the Shadow. After Chen Ge brought her back to the haunted house, with the accompaniment of many employees, they came to an agreement. The red high heels would help all the employees remove the curse from their bodies, and Chen Ge would send her away. The red high heels had no other choice but to trust Chen Ge. To leave, she tried her best to change the Shadow's curse every day. The curse in Scissors and Zhang Jingzhou's bodies had been mostly removed. The difficult part was the curse in Xu Yin's body. His condition was serious. If not for the fact that he had become a real red specter, his soul would have been destroyed by the curse a long time ago. Pushing open the door of the morgue, Chen Ge walked to the deepest bed. There was a cassette tape placed inside it. It was stained with gray and black stains like scars. Rest well. With me here, everything will be fine. Chen Ge placed the red high heels next to the cassette and sat in the bed for about 10 minutes before he stood up to leave. Perhaps the fact that all 10 visitors had fainted was too shocking, but after a whole morning, no visitors entered the 3.5-star scenario. Everyone obediently challenged the lower star scenarios. The visitors at the entrance of the haunted house slowly calmed down. Chen Ge believed that one day, the visitors would get used to this and think that it was normal to see a few people fainting at the entrance of the haunted house. At around 2 p.m., a few people who claimed to be employees from Nightmare Academy came to Chen Ge's haunted house. They loaded their colleagues into the car and took them away. A pair of twin brothers even came to apologize to Chen Ge. Chen Ge accepted their apology very politely and promised them that if there was a chance in the future, he would personally visit them. After the people from Nightmare Academy left, the students from Western Zhejiang Medical University came. Most of them were Wang Yan's friends. When they heard that their classmate had fainted again, they rushed over after class. It's not a big problem. He'll wake up soon. After inspecting Wang Yan's body, Chen Ge came to this conclusion. Actually, Wang Yan had woken up a long time ago. As a veteran visitor, be it his mental fortitude or his body's ability to withstand fainting, he was much better than others. Knowing that Chen Ge was purposely not exposing him, Wang Yan soon woke up. Wang Yan, you're finally awake. You dared to try a 3.5-star scenario? Impressive? The students from Western Zhejiang Medical University surrounded Wang Yan. They did not think that fainting from Chen Ge's haunted house was something embarrassing. In fact, from their perspective, a life that had not been fainted was incomplete. His university life seemed to be missing an important part. Well, it's not like I've gained nothing. A smile appeared on Wang Yan's pale face. He lay in the middle of the crowd, and the expression on his face looked quite heroic. I found the key to the 3.5-star scenario. Wang Yan struggled to look at Chen Ge. He raised his hand. Mr. Chen, next time, I'll definitely clear the scenario. The scenario was built for you to pass the level. I welcome you to come over at any time. Chen Ge enjoyed hanging out with the students from Western Zhejiang Medical University. It made him feel younger. Wang Yan and his girlfriend were taken away by the medical students. When they were out of Chen Ge's sight, they surrounded Wang Yan again. Wang Yan, what is the interior of a 3.5-star scenario like? How terrifying is it? Quote. The first 10 experiencers all fainted. I don't think I need to tell you how terrifying it is, right? Wang Yan was still rather weak. His legs did not have the strength to move. The new scenario is a small town. It is very big. I estimate it can accommodate 20 people at the same time. There are countless traps inside, and the scariest thing is, as time passes, the town will change on its own. It's changing on its own. Yang Cheng took out a small notebook and started making notes. Is the difficulty increasing? Yes. There will be fog on the streets, phone signals will be blocked, and more haunted house workers will appear at the corners. Quote. In other words, if we want to clear the new scenario, we have to be fast. Before the difficulty increases, we have to try our best to clear as many scenarios as possible. Yang Cheng recorded everything that Wang Yan had said in her notebook. This was precious information that Wang Yan had traded his life for. Yes, other than that, I've found a few important clues during this visit. Wang Yan thought about it and said, regarding the exit, I've found 3 clues. They are the fridge at the corner of the kitchen, the morgue at the end of the hospital, and the armoire inside the house. When we enter the scenario next time, we only need to specifically look for the fridge, the armoire, and the morgue. Okay, is there anything else? There's one more thing that I can't confirm, but it should be real. Wang Yan hesitated. Considering the size of the scenario and the possibility of accidents happening to the visitors, Mr. Chen has set up a safe zone inside the haunted house. It's at the center of the scenario, a restaurant. A safe zone. Yes, the restaurant owner is a middle-aged man. Now that I think about it, he is indeed different from the other workers, so he shouldn't be lying. Wang Yan revealed another important piece of information. This information is too important. It can save a life at a critical moment. Yang Cheng recorded down the information and circled it with a pen. Chen Ge watched the students walk away before turning to the other visitors. This man in the coat has broken the law. We'd better let the police come and take him away. There were too many visitors, so it was not convenient to call the police. Chen Ge waited until 5 p.m., when the park was about to close, before he called Li Sanbao and told him everything. During this period, the other visitors woke up one after another. The sports student, Zhang Feng, was in serious condition. He was sent to the underground morgue by Chen Ge, and he only recovered after he returned. He felt too ashamed to stay there, so he did not dare say a word and sneaked away. Shinozaki and his female assistant acted strangely. After they woke up, they continued to sit next to the haunted house like they had something to discuss with Chen Ge. At 6 p.m., after sending off the last batch of visitors, just as Chen Ge was about to close the door, Shinozaki and his female assistant ran over. Mr. Chen. Shinozaki limped as he walked. His hair was messy, and his expression was anxious. He did not look like a master anymore. How can I help you? Chen Ge had a good impression of Shinozaki. I saw a comic like this inside your haunted house. Shinozaki took out a comic from his pocket. When he was unconscious, his hands were still holding the page tightly. Can you let me meet the author of this? I admire him a lot, and I have something important to discuss with him. Quote. You want to meet him? Chen Ge knew that the comic was drawn by Yandanian. Yes, I wish to work with him so that more people can see his art. A genius like him should not be hiding inside a haunted house. Shinozaki was agitated. It had been many years since he had seen a painting that had touched him so deeply. Every single one of them was a work of art. They contained a unique emotion, deep and intense, and they depicted a real world amidst the absurdity. Come with me. The artist has a strange temper. I cannot guarantee that he will be willing to meet you. Chen Ge contacted Yandanian through the phone. He led Shinozaki and his female assistant underground. The author of these comics is inside the bedroom. He does not like to meet outsiders, so you can talk behind the curtain. After Chen Ge asked for Yandanian's opinion, he decided to let Shinozaki and Yandanian meet. Shinozaki was a famous artist in the industry. He knew everything that was going on in the art circle. The female assistant was also a professional. They had their own studio and a well-established operating system. Initially, Chen Ge accompanied him. After he confirmed that Shinozaki was sincere about working with Yandanian and wanted more people to see Yandanian's comics, he left the room. This was the moment that Yandanian was closest to his dream, so Chen Ge naturally would not disturb him. After standing guard outside the room for about half an hour, Chen Ge's black phone suddenly vibrated. He opened the phone with confusion and realized that there was a change in his employee profile. On Yandanian's profile, the second special power that had been a question mark had turned into a line of gray text. It was still unusable, but it had been displayed. All wishes come true, the strongest special power below a red specter. Your wish will come true. You can only use it once a week. Every time you use it, one page of the comic will disappear forever. My life is like a comic book. Every page is a memory. Those that are destined to never be embraced will be torn down, thrown into the air, and finally turned into the wind. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. The wish in my heart will eventually come true. In other words, there is no time limit. There is no indication of when it will come true. And every time I use it, it will permanently consume one page of the comic. This is the strongest special power of a lesser red specter. Chen Ge read the introduction about Yandanian's special power on the black phone seriously. The wish in my heart, I will do it myself. Using other people's lives to fulfill my own dream, even if that dream comes true, it will be meaningless. Chen Ge read the words on the black phone, and he could sense the sadness behind the words. Yandanian painted an absurd and strange world, but wasn't that world also the purest and cleanest of worlds? It was precisely because it was destined to never become reality that it was called absurd by the people in reality. Chen Ge pocketed the phone. Not long after that, Shinozaki and his female assistant walked out of the room with a large bag. Their faces were filled with excitement. How did it go? Chen Ge asked. Only someone like Mr. Yan can be called a real artist. It is my honor and fortune to be able to work with him. Shinozaki was a proud person. It was not easy for him to say something like that. Yandanian has spent his entire life painting. He is a man with a clear mind and is not a schemer. I hope that you can sincerely cooperate with him and not play any tricks. Chen Ge stood in the middle of the dark corridor. He was wearing a doctor's outfit that was covered in blood. The chains dragged on the ground, extending into the darkness. I understand. Don't worry. Shinozaki's forehead was covered in cold sweat. The experience at the haunted house resurfaced in his mind. That memory had become a nightmare that he could not forget. It's good that you understand. I wish you a happy cooperation. Other than that, if possible, I hope you can add the title, Western Zhejiang Haunted House, to the comic you release. After all, Yandanian is still my employee, Chen Ge said casually. No problem, we are family. Shinozaki was very understanding. He had no idea why he was afraid of this young man before him. After Shinozaki and the female assistant left, Chen Ge went to talk to Yan Danian. Yan Danian handed over his own work to Shinazaki's studio to handle. In the near future, he would be releasing 2 manga at the same time, Ghost Hunters and Underworld Campus. Ghost Loft was created by Yan Danian using himself when he was still alive, and School of the Dead was a new comic that he created based on Muyang High School. These 2 comics would be serialized on various international comics platforms. The author would write Yan Danian's name, and the income would be split 50-50 between Yan Danian and Shinazaki's studio. According to Shinazaki, Yan Danian's future income would be quite impressive. Danian is a simple-minded person. If he receives so much money at once, it's very likely that he'll learn bad things. If he wants to maintain the purity of his art, he mustn't be corrupted by the foul odor of money. I'll take care of his royalties for now. As Yan Danian's fame grew, this lesser red specter might become one of the pillars of Haunted House. After dealing with Yan Danian, Chen Ge's mood improved. He walked out from the haunted house. Shu Wan and Xiao Jiyu left after cleaning up, but Scissors and Zhang Jingju stayed. Both of you did well today, but there's still room for improvement. Chen Ge took out his phone and clicked open the memo. Scissors is very talented, but you haven't used that talent to its fullest yet. When the 2 of us blocked a visitor at the same time, why did he choose to run toward you? This proves that there are flaws in you, and there's room for improvement. Quote. Jingju, there's no need to rush. There are many things to learn as a haunted house actor. You've already gotten used to the darkness, and that's a huge improvement. Take it slow. When there's time, I'll go to Li Wan Hotel to play the role of the boss for you. Perhaps my treatment of the visitors will give you some inspiration. Quote. After exchanging a few words with the new employees, Chen Ge recommended some information to the 2 of them, and then he dismissed them. The Li Wan City mission is over, but there are still some things that need to be done. Chen Ge waited until the sky darkened before he found his backpack. He packed everything and ran out of New Century Park. He hailed a cab and headed toward Eastern Zhujiang's White Dragon Cave tunnel. When he arrived at the entrance of the tunnel, the sky was already dark. The Shadow's heart has been split between Zhang Ya and Dr. Gao, and it has completely disappeared. But the ghost fetus is still alive. The difficulty of this 4-star scenario is much higher than Li Wan City. After it's reborn, it will definitely come looking for me. If only I can find it before it's reborn. Quote. The ghost fetus was probably a greater red specter. This was a specter scarier than Zhang Ya. If I can't stop the ghost fetus before it's reborn, then I can only place my hope on Zhang Ya's breakthrough. Both sides were racing against time, and the current peace was the calm before the storm. Closing his eyes, Chen Ge touched the wall as he walked deeper into the tunnel. He mumbled a name in his heart. When he reached the 44th count, the air thickened, and a chill crawled up his heart. You managed to return alive. Hearing this familiar voice, Chen Ge slowly opened his eyes. You should know the changes in Eastern Zhujiang better than I do. The shadow has been eaten. The giant spider's shadow loomed over Chen Ge. At the top of the tunnel, thick legs reached out from the darkness, and a ghastly spider was hanging upside down above Chen Ge's head. The shadow has been eaten. By who? There was half a boy's body on the spider. He was the child of the girl from the tunnel, the real owner of the 3-star scenario. It doesn't matter who has eaten him. The important thing is that we've gotten ourselves into big trouble. Chen Ge told the boy about the ghost fetus. He wanted to drag this top red specter down with him. Chen Ge's explanation confirmed some of the boy's speculations. The more he heard, the darker his face became. However, even if he killed Chen Ge now, it would be pointless. I've sent her back safely. I look forward to our next cooperation. After saying everything that needed to be said, Chen Ge released the woman from the comic and retraced his steps. Exiting White Dragon Cave tunnel, Chen Ge walked down the road for half an hour before he found a taxi. He picked up his backpack and hailed a cab to head to an abandoned rehabilitation center in western Zhujiang. Chen Ge jumped over the wall with familiarity and jumped into the third sick hall. He pried open the door and entered the corridor filled with pillows and bedsheets. Meng Nan. Opening the comic, Chen Ge summoned Meng Nan. The blood-red shadow appeared next to Chen Ge. When Meng Nan saw the familiar surroundings, he felt like crying. Welcome home. Chen Ge stretched lazily. Even in such a creepy environment, he felt very relaxed. Perhaps it was because he had been here too many times. This is my home, not your home, Meng Nan protested softly. As a red spectre, he felt like he should be more aloof, but whenever he saw Chen Ge, he could not help but curse. If you say so. You're a red spectre, so I'll listen to you. Chen Ge walked forward casually. Hey, what else do you want? I'm going back. Meng Nan was hopping with anxiety. He had a feeling that Chen Ge's motive for sending him back was not that simple. In his impression, Chen Ge was not that kind of person. Since I'm already here, aren't you going to invite me in to take a look? Chen Ge stopped moving in shock. Meng Nan did not know how to explain to Chen Ge. This was the first living person that he had met who had voluntarily asked to enter his door. At midnight, the door can be opened for 1 minute. You can only stay inside my door for 1 minute. If you exceed this time, you'll have to wait until tomorrow to leave. Only 1 minute. Chen Ge did not want to trouble Meng Nan. Fine, there will be chances in the future. Go back and fix the window. I won't disturb you anymore. Then, I'll leave now. Meng Nan's eyes were filled with confusion, like he could not believe that Chen Ge would be so kind. Go. You've helped me many times. If you run into a problem that you can't solve in the future, feel free to come to me. I won't. As long as I don't get involved with you, I won't run into any problems, Meng Nan grumbled softly. That might not be the case. The shadow that we killed earlier was a clone of a greater red spectre. If we don't kill its main body, that greater red spectre will eventually come to visit. Greater red spectre. Meng Nan's face paled even more, and his eyes widened. From how he saw it, the shadow was the scariest monster, and he did not expect the thing to have a main body. The monster's main body is called the ghost fetus. It's made from curses and resentment. It's very vengeful, so you have to be careful. After saying that, Chen Ge turned to leave. After exiting the third sick hall, Chen Ge flipped through the comic, thinking about what he had not done yet. I am a man of my word. I haven't fulfilled my promise to the suicide operator, Zhang Wenyu. I will help you complete the last wish of the suicide operator, and every time I complete one, he will help me once. Chen Ge had limited manpower, and it would be very difficult to find the ghost fetus in the whole of Zhujiang, but Zhang Wenyu was different. After his death, the operator who committed suicide took on the lingering spirit of all the suicide victims. He needed to help all the suicides to complete their obsessions in order to be free, and correspondingly, the obsessions of the suicides that entangled him would also provide him with their own power. Zhang Wenyu was a unique red spectre. Even Chen Ge had no idea how powerful he was. Chen Ge only felt that this person's ability was perfect for finding people. I've already helped the person with big bear fat tiger syndrome fulfill his wish. According to the agreement, I can ask him to help me once. Chen Ge was a very decisive person. He took out his phone and called the number of the suicide operator in his memory. After 3 rings, the call was picked up, but there was no sound from the other end. I will help you complete the lingering spirits of those suicide victims as soon as possible, but I have run into a very troublesome matter. I hope you can help me. Without beating around the bush, Chen Ge stated his goal. What do you want me to do? Zhang Wenyu's hoarse voice came from the phone. Find an unborn baby. I've seen his face before. I'll send you his portrait in a bit. Chen Ge had Yan Danian draw the face of the baby on the shadow's chest. This should be the ghost fetus. Even if I know what he looks like, he is not even born yet. How would I know it is him? You're a red spectre, so you should have your own way. Both parties were silent for a while before Zhang Wenyu said, Okay, I will try my best to help you find him. The baby's true form is the ghost fetus. He appears to be a greater red spectre. He is very dangerous, so be careful when you're looking for him. After Chen Ge told him about the ghost fetus, he moved on to the next thing. Of the 3 lingering spirits that you've given me, I've already completed 2 of them. The wishes of the patient with Nobita's fat tiger syndrome and the patient with cancer have been completed, but the 3rd one is a bit more difficult. The 3rd one? Yes, the one that helped the author turn his work into a movie. Chen Ge owned a haunted house, but he knew nothing about movies. It would be very difficult for him to complete this obsession in a short period of time. Can you give me a few more lingering spirits? I'll help them first. That's not a problem, but the author's lingering spirit is very strong. I have a hard time suppressing him. If I cannot complete his wish as soon as possible, I might even be devoured by him. Zhang Wenyu sighed. I'll have to leave the filming to you. That is one of the reasons I came to you. I hope you can finish it as soon as possible. Okay, I'll figure that out. After hanging up, Chen Ge wandered aimlessly down the road. I can leave the ghost fetus to Zhang Wenyu, but filming the movie will be quite troublesome. Chen Ge took out his phone, and he suddenly had a flash of inspiration. A horror movie is still a movie. Even though I don't have the talent in this field, it doesn't mean that the whole of Zhejiang doesn't have it. He typed in the search bar, haunted film crew, haunted film set, murder during filming, and so on. Finally, he found an old news article. A famous screenwriter died in an accident at midnight. Was it a publicity stunt? Or the return of a baleful ghost? This is the 7th accident at Left Oculus. Is there really an evil spirit hidden in the script? Clicking on the article, Chen Ge realized that the page had disappeared. He searched through a few more keywords before he found some information. Left Oculus was the name of a horror movie, but this movie had many accidents during its filming. First, the screenwriter who was preparing to edit the script died in an accident. Then, the female lead went crazy, and the male lead disappeared. After changing the actors several times, the filming was finally completed. However, the day before the premiere, the set caught on fire, and all the costumes and props were burned to the ground. Many people on the internet said that the crew was overhyping the movie. It was not until the director from Left Oculus disappeared that everyone shut up. In the end, the movie was not released. Until now, no one had seen it. There were only broken clips online, and most of them were faked by the netizens. Even the script was burned to the ground. This crew is quite impressive. Chen Ge's interest was piqued. He hailed a cab back to the haunted house and ran to the staff break room. As he organized the information, he continued to search for anything related to Left Oculus. He worked until 2 a.m., and Chen Ge finally found some useful information. The mad female lead is still alive. She's staying at Zhejiang's mental hospital. The crew once filmed several scenes at the bungalow on Yongling Mountain. The script used by Left Oculus was not written by the screenwriter. The director accidentally found it at a school in western Zhejiang. There are also rumors that the director did not disappear but was trapped inside the movie. The director is trapped inside the movie. That should be a ghost story, right? Quote. Chen Ge felt like this was within his scope of work, so he could not ignore it. He raised his head to look at the clock on the wall. It was already 2:30 a.m. It takes half an hour to get to Yongling Mountain from here. It's too late. I should go tomorrow. I just don't have enough time. The deadline for the School of the Afterlife mission is coming soon, but I don't even have a red specter that I can use. I should go take a look at the crew first. It'll be best if I can help the author complete his wish and get the suicide operator to join Haunted House as soon as possible. Quote. After he was fully prepared, Chen Ge switched off his phone and went to bed early, which was rare for him. At 8 a.m. the next day, Chen Ge was woken up by knocking on the window. He opened his eyes blurrily and heard Xiao Gu's voice coming from outside the window. The boss probably ran out again in the middle of the night. Let's wait at the door. Does the boss leave at night often? It was Zhang Jingju who spoke. He was curious about Chen Ge. Let me put it this way. The social media that we often use has a real-time walking function. In any case, when I wake up every morning, the boss will have already walked 10,000 steps. Xiao Gu's tone was calm. But today is strange. Since last night, the boss has only walked 3,000 steps. Could something have happened to him? If the boss hears that, he'll definitely beat you up. Xu Wan's voice drifted into the room. All the employees seemed to have arrived. Do you think I would do something like beat up my employees? Chen Ge crawled out of bed, pulled back the thick curtains, and pushed open the window of the staff break room. At most, I will deduct their wages. Boss. The 4 employees stood next to the window. They seemed to have been there for a long time. Wait a minute, I'll go open the door for you now. Chen Ge lowered his head to look at his phone. It was already 8:40 a.m. He had been too sleepy the night before, so he had gone to bed without setting the alarm. Pulling open the haunted house's security door, Chen Ge called the 4 employees into the dressing room and helped them with their makeup. It just so happens that all of you are here. Let's have a simple morning meeting while we put on makeup. Chen Ge skillfully applied the makeup for his employees. His movements were smooth, and there was not a trace of a straight man to be seen. Shu Wan and Xiao Ji, you two are the veterans, so you'll be responsible for the 2 scenes on the ground. Our haunted house has a horror rating system, and many visitors are unable to explore the higher rated scenarios, so your mission is the most important. You represent the face of our haunted house and affect the first impression visitors have of our haunted house. Quote. Don't worry. Leave it to me and Sister Shu Wan. Everything will be fine. Xiao Ji patted his chest and guaranteed. His enthusiastic and optimistic personality made it easy for him to get along with the newcomers. Scissors and Zhang Jingju, the 2 of you will be responsible for the underground scenario. Just do your job. If anything happens to the visitors, remember to call me at the first notice. Chen Ge shared a look with Zhang Jingju and Scissors. The difficulty of the underground scenario is very high. The 2 of you will have to train your acting skills. Understood. Scissors and Zhang Jingju had followed Chen Ge into Liwan City before, so they knew what Chen Ge was trying to say. One last thing, I will now officially hand the spare key to the haunted house to Shu Wan. If you run into a situation where I'm not around, follow my orders to maintain the haunted house. Chen Ge handed the spare key to Shu Wan and looked at the girl in the mirror. If there's a problem with the underground scenario, go and ask Shu Wan. If Shu Wan still can't solve it, go and find Director Luo from New Century Park. Don't go to anyone else, and don't trust them easily. Before Shu Wan could answer, Chen Ge stood up. I'll be responsible for the underground scenario. Now, Scissors and Zhang Jingju, come with me. I still have many things to teach you. After Chen Ji's group walked away, Xiao Ji realized that Shu Wan was still spacing out looking at the mirror. Sis, it's time to go. The visitors will arrive soon. Yes, I know. Shu Wan gripped the key in her hand and slowly tightened her grip like she was afraid of losing this important thing. Chen Ge led Zhang Jingju and Scissors into the underground scenario and stopped outside one of the rooms in the underground morgue. He knocked lightly on the door, and an old man in a white coat walked out. His hair was white, but his body was straight like a pine tree growing on the cliff. This old man is called Wei Jukan. He is the best doctor at our haunted house. If one day I'm not around and you run into something you can't solve, you can come to him. He will help you. Dr. Wei was the oldest, had the most experience, and his personality was unquestionable. Of all the employees, he was the most suitable person to handle the situation. Why are you suddenly bringing this up? Dr. Wei felt like something was wrong, so he asked. It's nothing, just a backup plan. Kid, if there's anything on your mind, you have to tell me. This old man is very comfortable staying at your place, especially since I can see my old students and educate them like before. Dr. Wei rarely joked, but this time, he seemed to be purposely trying to make Chen Ge happier. Don't worry. Chen Ge returned to the surface. After the visitors started to enter the haunted house, he led Scissors and Zhang Jingju on a tour of the underground scenario and introduced them to most of the ghosts. Scissors and Zhang Jingju were so shocked during the tour that they could not close their mouths. There were students, teachers, doctors, patients, and even some special workers. It was like an underground town. What you're seeing now is just a small part of the underground scenario. The whole scenario is very, very big, and it was built by my parents over 10 years. Chen Ge told Scissors and Zhang Jingju many things that they should not do before sending them into Liwan City. Only when they are my best friends will I trust them to become my employees. Otherwise, it will be too hard to hire new people in the future. Chen Ge was trying his best to train Scissors and Zhang Jingju. When they could handle things on their own, he would have more time to do other things. Exiting the underground scenario, when Chen Ge reached the entrance, he was called by Shu Shu. Chen Ge, Director Luo is looking for you. Looking for me? Yes, be careful. There are outsiders around. Shushu reminded him softly before going back to selling tickets. Chen Ge ran to the office building. Once he pushed open the door, he heard laughter coming from inside. Director Luo was chatting happily with a middle-aged man. Those who did not know better would have thought that they were good friends. Xiao Chen, come and sit. Director Luo was very friendly toward Chen Ge. He stood up voluntarily, and when his back was facing the middle-aged man, he made a gesture. However, his voice was still bright and clear. This is CEO Bai. I've introduced him to you before. He has some questions to ask you. CEO Bai. Chen Ge understood immediately. The visitor was not friendly. There's no need to be so formal. We've met several times already. I'm here because someone asked me to, so I'm too embarrassed. CEO Bai also had a smile on his face. Earlier, there was a haunted house in Xinhai that came to visit us. In the end, all of their employees were sent to the hospital because of the scare. Their boss is a friend of mine, so he wanted me to come over to ask how Boss Chen managed to do that. They are all professional haunted house actors. They have been in this business for 5 to 6 years, and they can be considered the best in the market. Quote. That's why you're here. Chen Ge was silent for a while before turning to CEO Bai. Perhaps it's because they are too weak. I don't think my haunted house is that scary, but it varies from person to person. Why don't you come into my haunted house to experience it? I have a haunted house. I have a haunted house. No matter how well-mannered CEO Bai was, when he heard what Chen Ge said, his face turned green. Chen Ge's words were never conventional. He was straightforward. If you think there's something wrong with my haunted house, come in and experience it yourself. Only with that experience will you have the right to comment. Naturally, CEO Bai would not agree to Chen Ge's request. What a joke. Even a professional haunted house worker fainted after entering the haunted house. Wouldn't it be suicide for him to enter the haunted house? I still have something to deal with later. If there's a chance, I'll definitely go in and experience it. CEO Bai smiled awkwardly. After rejecting Chen Ge, he was not as confident as before. That's such a shame. If you want to come in the future, remember to tell me first, and I'll arrange a VIP service for you. The VIP service for Chen Ge's haunted house was a single visitor. One visitor, accompanied by 9 haunted house workers, would explore the 3.5-star scenario, Liwan City. Let's not talk about that for now. CEO Bai felt like if he continued this topic, the situation would only get worse for him. He took out his phone to make a call. Xiao Shuang, bring Chengyan with you. Don't be afraid. Director Luo and Chen Ge are not unreasonable people. They won't do anything to you. Several minutes later, footsteps came from outside the door. A pair of twins carried Li Chengyan into Director Luo's office. Chen Ge had seen them before, they were all employees from Nightmare Academy. This brother looks familiar. I believe he's visited my haunted house before. Chen Ge recognized Li Chengyan at first glance. Li Chengyan did not dare look at Chen Ge. With the twins' accompaniment, he sat in the corner of the room. Chengyan, tell Chen Ge about what you saw at the haunted house. CEO Bai seemed to have regained control of the situation. Everyone in the room turned to look at Li Chengyan. His expression was one of panic. Whenever he thought about what had happened that day, his body would shiver involuntarily. Raising his head, Li Chengyan sneaked a glance at Chen Ge, and the fear in his eyes could not be hidden. It's him. After uttering those 3 words, Li Chengyan's lips turned purple, and he gasped for air. Ghost. There are ghosts inside the haunted house. Quote. Are you here to blackmail me? Isn't it normal for a haunted house to have a ghost? Chen Ge leaned against the sofa with a helpless expression. There really is a ghost. His haunted house is haunted. Those monsters were real. It's impossible for a living person to act out that feeling. Li Chengyan's mind slowly became clearer, and his speech became more fluent. Nightmare Academy might not be able to replicate that feeling, but that doesn't mean others can't. Chen Ge was getting impatient. There was no hint of disrespect in his tone, but the way he looked at Li Chengyan was like he was looking at a piece of trash. Instead of reflecting on yourself, you keep trying to ruin others. Even if my haunted house closes, your haunted house will not be able to attract visitors. No. I'm sure those things aren't people. This isn't something a human can do. Li Changyan's eyes were bloodshot. I understand you. As a professional haunted house actor, you wanted to run to another haunted house to cause trouble, but you ended up fainting from fear. You've lost all your face, and that's why you came up with this idea to escape from reality. Chen Ge's analysis was clear and logical. I've been a haunted house actor for 5 years, so I know more about haunted houses than you do. I understand the ceiling of this industry. Li Changyan still wanted to say something, but he was cut off by Chen Ge. Is 5 years that long? My parents started the mobile haunted house 10 years ago, and I grew up hugging the models of ghosts and monsters. When you were learning pinyin with your butt naked, I was already assembling the mannequins. Quote. Chen Ge stood up. If we don't get along, it's pointless to waste any more time. The ceiling that you speak of is only the ceiling that you think is the ceiling, and it is only your ceiling. Don't be in such a hurry to leave, Chen Ge, give me some face. CEO Bai stood up directly. He felt like he had given Chen Ge enough face. Chong Yin is still young, and he has a stubborn temper. Why don't you find the few actors who tried to scare him and make him give up on this idea? Chen Ge turned back to look at director Luo. After exchanging a look, he stopped moving. Changyan, you said that my haunted house is really haunted. Then can you tell me in detail what kind of ghost you've encountered inside my haunted house? He walked toward Li Changyan with narrowed eyes. With each step, Li Changyan's body would shrink backward until he was pressed against the sofa. Why are you so afraid of me? Do you think I'm a ghost as well? After experiencing so many trial missions from the black phone, Chen Ge had developed a unique presence around him. I can't be sure about the other actors because my memory is a bit blurry, but there was a middle-aged man at the hotel that I remember very clearly. He's definitely not a human. Li Changyan gritted his teeth. Do you dare bring him here to confront me? Quote. At the hotel, a middle-aged man. Chen Ge frowned. From the man's description, it sounded like Zhang Jingju. But the key question was, why would the man be so sure that Zhang Jingju was a ghost? As a newcomer, even Zhang Jingju would be scared by himself, so how did he manage to make Li Changyan mistake him for a ghost? This is a trap. Chen Ge did not get it. You don't dare, right? Actually, there is no such person at your haunted house, right? Li Changyan's eyes were red. His brain was developed differently from normal people, and his way of thinking was quite extreme. Don't think about finding a random person to replace him. I have his picture here. Li Changyan took out his phone from his pocket with shaking hands. He clicked open the album, and there were some pictures of Zhang Jingju. These pictures were all taken before Li Changyan came into contact with Zhang Jingju while pretending to be a pregnant woman. Why aren't you saying anything? Why are you hesitating? The pictures are very clear. Please bring this person to me immediately. Li Changyan felt like he was well prepared. He was thankful that he had taken the pictures earlier, but unfortunately, he only managed to take pictures of Zhang Jingju. He had been running away in a hurry, so he did not have the time to take pictures. You've worked at a haunted house for 5 years already, so you should know that taking pictures inside a haunted house is against the rules. I will keep these pictures, and in a few days, I will personally go to Nightmare Academy to demand an explanation. Seeing the pictures, Chen Ge surprisingly calmed down. Don't waste time. Li Changyan shouted loudly. He insisted on his opinion. Wait here. Chen Ge turned and walked out of Director Luo's office. He returned to the haunted house to bring out Zhang Jingju, who was still studying acting. Bring the makeup remover, we're going to meet an old friend. Chen Ge gave Zhang Jingju some instructions on the way, and Zhang Jingju immediately understood what was going on. Knocking on the door, when Chen Ge led Zhang Jingju into Director Luo's office, the temperature in the room seemed to have dropped. This is the actor in the picture. His name is Zhang Jingju. Everyone turned to look at Zhang Jingju. His face had been put on by Chen Ge. Even though they were standing in the bright office, it was still scary to look him in the eyes. I'm sorry for scaring you that day. I didn't expect you to be so cowardly. I'm so sorry. Zhang Jingju walked toward Li Changyan, but Li Changyan screamed and jumped up. No, he's a ghost. He's really a ghost. Quote. Ignore him. Chen Ge handed the makeup remover to Zhang Jingju. Remove your makeup here. I'll help you with your makeup when we get back. Okay. Zhang Jingju removed his makeup and jacket before everyone, and he instantly looked like a different person. There was no sense of fear, he was just like the office workers that one often saw on the subway. Your ghost knows how to remove makeup. Zhang Jingju placed the makeup remover before the 3 employees from Nightmare Academy. Your ghost knows how to remove makeup. Zhang Jingju placed the makeup remover before the 3 employees from Nightmare Academy. There's no need to apologize. I'll visit your haunted house in the near future. The employees from Nightmare Academy could see that Chen Ge was quite angry. After apologizing, they left with their tails between their legs. CEO Bai felt quite awkward staying in Director Luo's office, but he managed to maintain his composure. Xiao Chen, there's nothing else for you to do. You can go back now. Director Luo had a satisfied smile on his face. It appeared like he had something else to discuss with CEO Bai. Okay. Chen Ge felt like Director Luo was going to rip CEO Bai off this time, and the two had a tacit understanding. On the way back, Chen Ge noticed that Zhang Jingju kept his head lowered like he was hiding something in his heart. Jingju, if there's something on your mind, just say it. We've been through life and death together, so what's there that you can't say? Chen Ge's voice was warm. He could always bring strength to others when he didn't expect it. Did I cause trouble for you again? I feel like I'm so useless. I can't scare the visitors, I've dragged down the average standard of our haunted house, and I've brought trouble to our haunted house. Zhang Jingzhou's voice was bitter. Since I was young, I've been a burden to my family. Due to what happened to my mother, I've vented all my dissatisfaction on my father. I feel like it's all his fault, and I've avoided all the responsibility. Now that I think about it, I've really been a terrible person. Over the past few days, I've seen you studying at the haunted house, but I have a feeling that you're still not letting go. You give me the feeling that you've locked yourself up inside a small cage. Standing inside the office, Chen Ge looked out the window at the scenery and looked down at the whole theme park. Everyone has their moments of confusion, and everyone has their own unique charm. What you need to do now is to unlock the shackles in your heart and release your real self. When you have time, go back to Xinhai to meet your father. Some things will be better after you've talked it out. Quote. Chen Ge patted Zhang Jingju on his shoulder. You need to pull yourself together. Currently, the only employees that I can really use are the few of you. In the future, I plan to have you open a branch in another city so that you can take on the responsibility. Thank you. There's no need to thank me. I don't have many employees, and I treat all of them like family. Chen Ge led Zhang Jingju back to the haunted house. He had Zhang Jingju continue to act as the boss while he entered the staff break room to look for information about Left Oculus. He planned to leave that night. The mission for the School of the Afterlife will end the day after tomorrow. Whether Zhang has woken up or not, I have to go and take a look at this mission, or else all the previous missions will have been for nothing. Chen Ge stared at his own shadow for a while before picking up the calendar on the table. Today is June 11th. The theme park's peak season is coming, and the futuristic theme park is about to open. I don't have much time left. Zhang Ya was asleep, and Xu Yin was heavily injured. Challenging the 4-star scenario, School of the Afterlife, under these circumstances was a very dangerous thing to do. Chen Ge understood that, but he had no other choice. Giving up on the School of the Afterlife would mean that all his previous efforts would have been for nothing. I'll go and take a look. Hopefully, I'll be able to return. His eyes swept to the picture of himself and his parents at the corner of the table, and Chen Ge shook his head. In the family picture, his parents were standing in the middle. His mother seemed to be hugging something, his father was happily pointing at the haunted house behind him, and Chen Ge was standing alone on the left. Narrowing his eyes, Chen Ge could see that his mother was hugging Director Luo's daughter, the guardian spirit that looked like an angel. It feels like I'm not her biological daughter. Chen Ge placed the picture back on the table, and he accidentally saw the sentence on the back of the picture, June 11th, Happy Birthday, Little Brat. Parents who can lose themselves keep calling me little brat. Chen Ge put the picture away and returned to his work. During lunch, Chen Ge had his 4 employees go ahead while he stayed behind to take their place. After waiting for half an hour, Shu Wan and the rest returned. They whispered to each other like they were discussing something. "You're 4 minutes late. If there's a next time, I'm going to deduct your pay," Chen Ge threatened fiercely. When the employees heard that, they quickly ran back to their own scenarios. "If I don't hit him for a few days, he will go up the roof and tear the tiles. It seems that I should be a little stricter." Chen Ge returned to the staff break room to prepare all the information and then came up with a list of employees that he could bring with him. The crew of Left Oculus was just a small test, his real focus was the school of the afterlife. After thinking for a long time, Chen Ge came up with a reasonable plan. When he exited the break room, the sun had already set. The theme park closed at 6 p.m. After sending the last batch of visitors out, Chen Ge closed the door. "Thank you for your hard work, everyone. You should get off work early." Chen Ge still had something to do that night, so he urged Shu Wan and the rest to leave. "Boss, are you still going out tonight?" Xiao Jiyu seemed to have seen through Chen Ge's thoughts. "What do you know, kid? It's all about work." Chen Ge urged them to leave. Scissors and Zhang Jingju did not think much of it. Only Shu Wan wanted to say something, but in the end, she did not. The theme park during the day was bustling, but after closing for business, the park slowly quieted down. The light of the setting sun reflected on the Ferris wheel. The laughter had disappeared, and Chen Ge stood alone at the entrance of the haunted house. He looked at it for a while before turning to enter the haunted house. "I'll make my move after the sky is completely dark." Returning to the staff break room, Chen Ge lay in bed, and his eyes occasionally wandered to the picture on the table. This was the first birthday that he had celebrated after his parents' disappearance. "Should I buy a cake? Oh well, the money from the cake should be enough to buy half a mannequin." Chen Ge patted his face and pulled himself together as he reached under the bed. "Where's my backpack? Did the white cat drag it away?" Quote. Chen Ge looked under the bed, but he did not see the backpack, the white cat, or Xiao Xiao. "This cat is really capable now. It knows that I'm going to bring it out, so it even took my backpack." Other than Chen Ge, only the white cat and Xiao Xiao would come into the staff break room, so Chen Ge's suspicion was on the white cat. Holding a bag of cat food, Chen Ge opened the door to the staff break room. He ran all over the scenario, but he did not see the white cat. The white cat has run to the underground scenario. It's so cowardly that it dares to go down on its own. Quote. Pulling open the steel door that led underground, Chen Ge entered the dark underground corridor. He only took a few steps when he felt that something was wrong. The underground corridor that night was strangely quiet. Xiao Xiao, Lao Zhou. He called the few employees' names, but there was no response. Chen Ge walked down the dark street alone. Eerie and oppressive, this narrow corridor was similar to the path that Chen Ge had been taking. He could not see the light, and he was moving forward alone. Passing the broken windows, he saw different scary scenarios. Behind him was darkness, and before him was an even deeper darkness. Walking past the empty classrooms, Chen Ge finally stopped at the first junction of Nuyang High School. He was alone, and he looked at the junction. He was about to choose a random path when his phone vibrated. He swiped the screen, and it was a message from Tong Tong. "Boss, happy birthday." Before Chen Ge could react, the dark junction was lit up by a will-o'-the-wisp. There was a loud bang, and the door to the bathroom was shoved open. Several mannequins rushed out carrying a blackboard. The blackboard of the last classroom had been removed, and it was painted with a bunch of dancing people. They had different expressions, and in the middle of the group stood a man dragging an iron hammer. Perhaps due to their limited drawing skills, they were unable to express the man's presence. They used chalk to write many nouns around the man in the middle, like sunshine, kindness, gentleness, and kindness. After they were written, there would be arrows pointing at the man in the middle. When they saw Chen Ge, they turned around at the same time to reveal the other side of the blackboard. However, perhaps due to the lack of coordination, many mannequins' arms and necks turned 180 degrees. They maintained this strange and creepy pose to reveal the other side of the blackboard, "Happy Birthday." The 4 words were written in thick chalk. Combined with the smiles on the faces of the students from Muyang High School, some of them wanted to get closer to Chen Ge, but some felt that if they got too close, they would not be able to see the whole picture, so they did not move. The disagreement caused the few mannequins to get into a mess, but it was clear that they were paying attention. There was a dry cough from the left corridor, and the lights in the other corridors went out, leaving only the one on the left. A creepy singing filled the scenario, and it was mixed with scary laughter and static. A cadaver cart was slowly pushed out by the doctors from the underground morgue. "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you." The front of the cart was filled with birthday cards. The cards were made from different materials, some were patients' records, some were flyers, and some were torn from bedsheets and clothes. However, even though they were made from different materials, the handwriting was mostly the same, so it was probably the pen spirit who had written them. In the middle of the cart was a 4-story cake that was pieced together from a model. The edge of the cake model had unique handwriting. To be able to draw the lines of the cake like blood, only the extremely talented Yandanian could do that. "Chen Ge, happy birthday." The doctors stopped the cart before Chen Ge, and Yandanian and Lao Zhou walked out from behind the cart. Bai Cholan was holding a recorder, and the bloodied tape was still spinning, playing a soothing tune. "You guys," Chen Ge looked at all the people before him. "Don't speak. Light the candles and make a wish." Wei Jukan waved behind him, and a white cat that was much bigger than normal crawled out from the classroom with a backpack in its mouth. It returned the backpack to Chen Ge. Opening the backpack, Xiao Xiao sat inside it with several candles that were wrapped in paper. "So, you're here." Chen Ge carried Xiao Xiao out and placed her on his shoulder. He held the few, crude candles. "Who told you that today is my birthday?" "The guy that you told me to meet this morning. He said it was your other female employee who told him." "Understood." Chen Ge nodded and looked at the candles in his hand. "Do I have to light them?" "Life needs a sense of ritual. You have to light them at every age, or else your wish won't come true." Elder Wei was very strict, so Chen Ge nodded. He took out a lighter from his backpack and lit the candles one by one before sticking them into the cake model. The warm light chased away the chill. Ghosts hated light, but none of them stayed away. "Boss, it's time to make a wish." "Make a wish? What kind of wish will the boss make?" "Don't interrupt. It won't come true if you say it out loud." His eyes scanned the faces of his employees. Chen Ge rubbed his eyes and silently made his wish before blowing out all the candles. The underground scenario returned to darkness, but the silence was broken. All the employees gathered together, singing and laughing like a real family. "Thank you." Standing in the dark, even though Chen Ge was the only living person in the haunted house, he did not feel lonely. Beauty would never be covered by a scary appearance. He saw the sincerity that had been abandoned like a pair of broken shoes, the pride that refused to let go, and the kindness that was carved into the soul of his employees. "It is my good fortune to have met all of you." The party continued until midnight, and Chen Ge suddenly remembered that he still had something to do. He grabbed his backpack and shoved the white cat inside it. "Come, the night has just begun. We'll go out for the next half of the night." Walking out from the underground scenario, Chen Ge carried the heavy backpack back to the staff breakroom. When he opened the door, he was startled. There was a cake, a greeting card, and a key on his study table. Picking up the card, he saw Xu Wen's elegant handwriting. "Boss, I don't think we need a spare key at the haunted house. I believe you will always be here. I've returned the key to you. Happy birthday. Happy every day." Quote. Putting down the card, Chen Ge picked up the key from the table and studied it quietly for a while. After his parents disappeared, the number of visitors to haunted house had dwindled, and it was on the verge of closing down. Even in that difficult situation, Xu Wan still did not leave. She was the only employee who was recruited by Chen Ge's parents and chose to stay with Chen Ge in the end. Did the girl sense something? Chen Ge put the key away and opened the cake box. Compared to the beautifully wrapped box, the cake inside could only be described as horrible. The middle was caved in, and the skin was charred black. The overall structure was loose like it would crumble with a touch. It was obvious that the maker had put in a lot of effort. She had spread cream evenly over the cake to try to cover up the flaws. During this process, the cake appeared to have crumbled once. The cream was both a decoration and a glue that had seeped into the inside of the cake. Just looking at this cake, Chen Ge could already picture Shu Wan making it. No wonder she's Chen Ge's employee. Even baking a cake can be so scary. Picking up the knife inside the box, Chen Ge cut off a piece and took a small bite. The texture is mushy, hard on the outside but soft on the inside, and it sticks to the teeth. Too much oil was used, so it's not fully cooked. Don't tell me this girl is using high-gluten flour. You have to use high-gluten flour to make a cake. Quote. Even though Chen Ge kept complaining, he still ate most of the cake. Seeing how much Chen Ge enjoyed the cake, the white cat was curious, but when it poked its head over, Chen Ge shoved it back into the backpack. Fresh cream cake is not good for your body. When it's your birthday, I'll make you a cat food cake. Ignoring the white cat's protest, Chen Ge wiped his mouth and left the staff breakroom. The birthday party took up some time, but that did not affect Chen Ge's plan that night. He had already compiled the information on the crew of Left Oculus online, and he planned to go there that night. After leaving New Century Park, Chen Ge waited by the roadside for a long time, but he did not see a taxi. All the taxi drivers in Zhujiang seemed to have come to a consensus: do not approach New Century Park after midnight, and do not pick up any customers from that place. Unfortunately, my bus drove into the world behind Li Wan City's door, or else this wouldn't have happened. After walking 2 streets, Chen Ge finally found a taxi. After he got in the car, he gave the driver the address. Sir, I want to go to Yongling Mountain Villa. Yongling Mountain. The driver was obviously stunned. There are villas in Yongling Mountain. Turn on the navigation. Chen Ge wasn't sure either. Anyway, that was what the internet said. What's the full name? The driver keyed in the words, Yongling Mountain, but the navigation did not show the location of Yongling Mountain Villa. The full name. Chen Ge's pupils narrowed slightly. He looked at the names displayed on the GPS: Yongling Mountain Gas Station, Yongling Mountain Flower Market, Yongling Mountain Holiday Village. Let's go to Yongling Mountain Holiday Village first. Is it really that random? The driver glanced at Chen Ge through the rear-view mirror. He thought the man looked familiar, and it reminded him of a certain rumor about midnight riders. The car started, and after driving for half an hour, there were only scattered lights on both sides of the road. At the end of the road, there was a large shadow, and that was western Zhujiang's Yongling Mountain. According to the navigation, the taxi was about to reach its destination. The driver gripped the steering wheel tightly. He opened his mouth several times, wanting to talk to Chen Ge, but he gave up in the end. He had no idea why. Perhaps it was because the man sitting at the back had a stronger presence. After the taxi entered the mountain, the surrounding lights disappeared completely. It appeared like no one would come to this place at night, and it was very deserted. After driving for another 5 minutes, the navigation on the driver's phone said, "You have arrived at your destination. This navigation session is over. Have a pleasant journey." The car stopped by the roadside. The surroundings were dark, and one could barely see the swaying branches and hear the rustling of the leaves as the wind blew through them. The driver's hands that gripped the steering wheel were soaked in sweat, and his face was pale. This journey had not been a pleasant one for him at all. We're here. According to the navigation, this is Yongling Mountain Holiday Village. The driver turned his head around rather stiffly to look at Chen Ge. His eyelids kept twitching, afraid that the suspicious man in the backseat would pull out a weapon from his backpack and then hijack his car. This is Yongling Mountain Holiday Village. There's not even a house around it, it's just a wasteland. Chen Ge had yin-yang vision, so the darkness did not affect him that much. He could see that they were surrounded by large trees. You're not lying to me, are you? Dragging me to the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. Quote. Why are you suspecting me now? Brother, I'm just following the navigation. The driver turned on all the lights inside and outside the car, but the light was not enough to chase away the fear in his heart. Fine. Chen Ge paid the fare and grabbed his backpack as he got out of the taxi. He turned on the flashlight that came with his phone and walked down the road. Suddenly, he saw a small path that was overgrown with weeds in the middle of the forest. We're going that way. Yongling Mountain Holiday Village is in there. How come it feels like it's been abandoned for so long? Quote. Chen Ge turned back to ask the driver, but when he turned around, he saw the driver turn the car around, step on the gas pedal, and rush down the mountain like a madman. Is this place that scary? Since he could not count on anyone else, Chen Ge could only rely on himself. He raised his phone and turned into the small path. After walking for a few minutes, the view widened. Chen Ge could see a row of low walls and a few strangely constructed buildings. This is the holiday village. Who would come to this place for a holiday? It looks like my haunted house. Quote. The purpose of a holiday was to relax, not to seek excitement for oneself. The deeper Chen Ge walked, the more confused he became. It's shown on the navigation, but it feels like this place has been purposely forgotten by the locals. I wonder if it's still open for business. The road was uneven, and there were many cracks. The trees on the sides were crooked, and they gave off a dark aura. It felt like they had not been taken care of for a long time, and it made Chen Ge feel uncomfortable. The walls were covered in creepers, and they covered the words on the walls. Chen Ge searched for a long time before he found the door to the holiday village about 10 meters away. On the rusted iron door, there was a sign that said, "No entry," and next to the sign was a yellowish-brown wooden mailbox. People still use mailboxes. The wooden sign and the mailbox were handmade. They were very rough, and they did not match the architectural style at all. The words on the sign are very clear, and the iron wire that hangs the sign is not rusted. This should have been added recently. Chen Ge tried to push on the iron door, and it creaked noisily. As he pushed, the iron door was pushed open. It's not locked. Chen Ge pushed the iron door open, and before him were many two-story buildings with different styles. It was hard to imagine such a building could be hidden deep inside the forest. There is a brand new mailbox hanging on the door, and there are red buckets filled with clean water placed inside the door. There are clothes hanging out to dry at the back of the house. Someone has been living here for quite some time. To avoid scaring the resident, Chen Ge waved his phone and then knocked lightly on the door. He called out, "Is anyone there?" The surroundings were quiet. He waited for 10 seconds. Just as Chen Ge was about to give up, the door of the building next to him was pushed open a gap. No one spoke. After a long silence, a hoarse voice came from behind the door. "Who are you looking for?" It was impossible to tell the person's age from the voice. Chen Ge looked at the building and did not approach it recklessly. When a normal resident discovered a stranger had entered their home late at night, their first reaction would not be to open the door but to switch on the lights. However, the owner of the voice acted very strangely. After 10 seconds of hesitation, he opened the door to the room he was in. "Excuse me, is this Yongling Mountain Holiday Villa?" Chen Ge was very polite. No matter the time and the situation, he believed in the principle of not hitting someone who was smiling at him. "How can I help you?" The person behind the door did not answer Chen Ge directly, but from his tone, it was clear that the person had admitted it. "It's like this. My friend said he lives at Yongling Mountain Holiday Villa, and he asked me to go and find him tonight. However, the location of Yongling Mountain Holiday Villa is not on my phone's GPS, so I'm looking for someone to ask for directions." Chen Ge was not lying. He was indeed going to find his friend, but when the person behind the door heard what Chen Ge said, he sucked in a cold breath. "Your friend lives at Yongling Mountain Holiday Villa." The person's voice was very strange. His throat appeared to be scalded by something, and his words were slurred and unclear. "Yes, do you know where Yongling Mountain Holiday Villa is?" Chen Ge took a few steps forward. He was curious about the person behind the door. "Of course I know, because this is the Yongling Mountain Villa." Hearing Chen Ge's approaching footsteps, the man closed the door again. Yongling Mountain Resort was rebuilt from the Yongling Mountain Villa district. At the time, something happened here, and most of the people who lived here chose to move away. Later, the resort was abandoned for various reasons, and I was the only one left to guard the door. The man paused for a moment and continued through the door. "I'm the only one in this resort. You must have been deceived by your friend. He doesn't actually live here." "This shouldn't be the case," Chen Ge said casually. "In the past, a crew came to Yongling Mountain Villa to shoot a film. He was one of the crew members. This time, he invited me here because he made an important discovery. Stop, it's getting dark. Don't talk nonsense. The man behind the door spoke very quickly like he wanted Chen Ge to shut up. The man's strange reaction was exactly what Chen Ge wanted to see. He did not stop and started to talk to himself again. The reason Yongling Mountain Villa was rebuilt into a resort is probably because of that crew. I heard that many strange things happened when they were filming. The movie they were filming was called Left Oculus. Stop talking. The man pushed the door open, and he was getting agitated. The door was completely open, and Chen Ge finally had the chance to observe the man. The man before him was about 40 years old. He was short, and his back was severely hunched. His face was pale, and most importantly, his eyes were closed tightly like he was blind. Chen Ge waved his hand lightly before the man, but the man did not react. I'm sorry, I mean no harm. My friend told me all that. Your friend said he was from the crew. What does he look like? The man finally calmed down. What does he look like? Chen Ge was quite surprised. It did not feel right for a blind man to ask about someone else's appearance. After giving it some thought, Chen Ge described Li Chengyan's appearance to the man. The man frowned when he heard that. He signaled for Chen Ge to go into the room. Don't stay outside, come in and talk. The room was dark. The switch on the wall had been removed, and only an ugly groove was left. The man seemed to have gotten used to the darkness. He walked straight into the living room and sat on the sofa. He did not touch anything on the way. Running into a blind man with a scary appearance in the middle of nowhere, if it was anyone else, they would not have followed him into the room, but Chen Ge was an exception. I don't know what your friend told you, but there is one thing I am sure of. You have been tricked by him. The man reached out to the coffee table. He picked up a plastic cup and took a sip of the water inside. Do you think I will believe you or my friend? Chen Ge noticed that the man's hand was shaking when he raised the cup. The people from Left Oculus will not come back. This place is the shadow that haunts them for the rest of their lives. It was not easy for them to escape, so why would they come back? The man's emotions had calmed down, and his voice returned to normal. Brother, from your tone, it sounds like you know some inside information? Chen Ge sat across from the man. The lights in the room were not on. The moonlight shone into the living room through the window, casting a small white shadow on the coffee table. I'm just a janitor. I don't know what happened to the crew. I only know that room 744 on Yongling Mountain that they used for the shoot was leveled. The man had his eyes closed, but his face was facing where Chen Ge was sitting. After this place was converted into a holiday, the boss built a private theater at the original location of room 744. Just as the man mentioned the theater, the black phone in Chen Ge's pocket suddenly vibrated. The man could not see, so he did not notice anything out of place. Chen Ge was quite curious. Why would the black phone receive a message at a time like this? He took out the phone, swiped the screen, and clicked on the new message. Congratulations, Spectre's favored. Congratulations for triggering the 2-star special mission, The Story of Left Oculus. This mission is made up of 3 parts. Please head to Dead Man's Theater within half an hour, and watch a complete movie. After this mission is completed, the next part of the mission will be announced. Looking at the words on the phone, Chen Ge's eyes narrowed. Did I write it wrong? It should be a private theater, right? Hey, are you listening to me? The man yelled at Chen Ge. I'm sorry, I was a bit spooked. Please continue. Chen Ge glanced at the time and then put the phone away. What happened later was indeed quite scary. No matter if it was day or night, once you entered the theater, it felt eerie and creepy. Many of the audience members said that when they watched the movie that they had chosen, they would occasionally notice a completely unrelated figure in the movie. I have a haunted house. I have a haunted house. What do you mean by an unrelated person will appear in the movie? Chen Ge planned to go to the theater later, so he wanted to get as much information about the theater as he could. Many tourists went to the theater to watch movies at night, and they realized that a girl would appear in many of the movies. She was in her early 20s, had long black hair, and her facial features were blurred out. Initially, the tourists did not pay much attention to it. They thought it was the shadow of the workers or that there was something wrong with the tape. But one day, a family of 4 came here for a vacation. Their youngest daughter started to cry the moment she entered the theater. The wife had no choice but to carry the daughter away while the husband and the boy stayed behind. They were watching a cartoon that day, but as they watched, the boy suddenly asked his father, "Why is there a big sister standing at the corner of the staircase?" The man did not take his son's words to heart, but after a while, the boy asked again, "Why does the big sister keep looking at him?" The boy's incessant questions finally annoyed the man, but due to the audience around them, he suppressed his anger and only warned his son to be quiet. The boy felt wronged, and about 10 minutes later, the boy suddenly started to cry without warning. The man panicked and tried to cheer his son up, but the boy kept his head lowered and wouldn't listen. The boy's father slowly realized that something was wrong. He realized that his son did not dare to raise his head to look like there was something scary on the screen. After the movie was over, he first sent his son to his wife's side, then returned to the theater to look for the reason. Chen Ge was engrossed in the story when the man suddenly stopped. What did the boy's father find? The boy's father disappeared. According to the surveillance, he entered the theater alone late at night and never came out again. How could a living person disappear for no reason? You didn't make this story up, did you? Chen Ge stood up. Where's the theater? I want to go and take a look. Hearing Chen Ge's words, the man's lips twitched. His original intention was for Chen Ge to back off, but to his surprise, the man seemed to be more interested after hearing the horror story that he had told him. No, absolutely not. If you don't want to lead the way, I'll go there myself. After all, this place is only so big. Chen Ge carried his backpack and studied the man before him. Regardless of whether the resort was abandoned or not, the management would not have hired a blind person to guard the door alone. I don't understand. Why do you want to go there? Didn't you just say that you're here to find your friend? The man was a little impatient. He wanted to stop Chen Ge. Yes, I'm here to look for my friend. Before he disappeared, the last message he sent me was, he's at Yongling Mountain Villa District. Chen Ge's attitude was serious and serious. It was impossible to tell that he was just talking nonsense. Your friend went missing here? The man was silent. He clasped his hands together and hesitated before making a decision. All right, I'll take you there. If your friend isn't there, we'll leave immediately. Thank you. Chen Ge wanted to help the man up, but the moment he touched the man flung his hand away like a startled sparrow. Chen Ge did not expect such a big reaction. I'm sorry, I just wanted to help you up. It's fine, I can do it on my own. The man stood up in the dark. Even though his eyes were closed, he seemed to be able to see everything around him. He avoided the various obstacles and walked out of the room with the guide stick that was behind the door. Chen Ge followed behind him, and the two of them walked through the strange buildings one after the other. The person who designed these buildings probably didn't consider the rational use of the land, right? What do you know? This is all art. Quote, I don't understand it. Can you explain it to me? The man was not in the mood to chat with Chen Ge. He left in a hurry. He was very familiar with the grass and trees here, and he moved much faster than Chen Ge expected. Several minutes later, the two stopped before a 2-story building that was completely sealed. This is the theater. The door is locked, and I don't have the key, but there is a small window on the 2nd floor. You can stand outside and look. Okay, thank you. I'll just take a look. Chen Ge carried the backpack and walked to the door. He turned back to see the man still standing where he was. Is there anything else? Do you need me to send you back? Quote. There's no need. The man had a feeling that something bad was going to happen. He stood where he was for a long time before he turned around. However, before he took a step forward, he heard a loud bang coming from behind him. Bang! The silence of the night was shattered. The sudden sound almost injured the man's eardrums. He was given a fright, and he dropped the guide stick that he was holding. What's going on? What's going on? His hands groped around in the dark, and the man panicked. Right then, a warm hand held his arm. There are other people in this holiday village. Chen Ge held the man lightly, and his voice was reassuring. Impossible. That's impossible. The man struggled to retreat. His face was filled with panic, and his body was shaking. The guide stick fell to the side, and his lips were purple. You can't see, so how do you know there won't be other people? The dark clouds blocked out the moon. Chen Ge held the man with one hand, and his other hand held the scary hammer. He stood next to the man and stared at the man's closed eyes. Whether it was from the perspective of a bystander or the person involved, this scene was extremely terrifying. If there really is someone else, then it'll be even worse. It's so late at night, and it might have returned. The man wanted to leave, but from his tone and expression, Chen Ge could not tell whether the man was lying or not. Don't panic, calm down. Chen Ge glanced at his phone. The trial mission only gave him half an hour to prepare. If he let the man go, there might be other accidents. We'd better stay together. That way, we can take care of each other. Chen Ge picked up the guide stick and returned it to the man. He held the man's arm, and the two of them entered the theater. Compared to the old building outside, the inside of the theater was surprisingly clean, like someone had come to clean it every day. Chen Ge reached out to touch the equipment on the stage. There was not a speck of dust on it. To be able to keep the whole theater so clean, it was definitely not something a blind person could do. Staring at the man's eyes that had never opened, Chen Ge gripped the hammer in his hands tightly. Now that we're inside the theater, do you know how to operate these equipment? I only know a little. Why do you ask? The man gripped the cane. He wanted to maintain his distance from Chen Ge, but he was too weak to struggle free. My friend disappeared when he was watching a movie inside a theater. I wish to do the same thing as him and see if I can find anything. Chen Ge said casually. He stood quietly in the dark and scanned the theater. The rows of seats were uneven, and they looked like squatting or standing shadows. Have you lost your mind? Why would you come here at 2 a.m. to ask me to play a movie for you? Even without those scary rumors, the man did not think a normal person would be like Chen Ge, going to an abandoned theater to watch a movie at night. I'm very clear-headed, and I know what I'm doing. Chen Ge shone the light on the phone on the various devices. If it's too inconvenient for you, you can tell me how to operate it, and I'll do it myself. Chen Ge was a very studious person. Wherever he went, he would learn, and it was because of that he had mastered so many skills. You have to think this through. The story that I told you earlier is not a story, it's real. The man's eyelids twitched. He knew his current situation. He placed the cane to the side and reached out to search the table. The man moved very slowly, and no one could tell what he was thinking. Chen Ge stood to the side and stared at him. The more he looked at the man, the more he felt like there was something wrong with the man. His hands were too agile. Even though his eyes were closed, he knew the location of all the devices. There were two possibilities for this to happen. One was that before he was blind, or after he became blind, he had repeatedly operated this set of devices. Practice made perfect, and that was how he was able to operate it even with his eyes closed. The second possibility was that he was not blind at all. The main switch is on the second floor. Can you help me open it? The man connected all the wires. He reached for the power supply, but he tried several times, but he could not turn it on. Second floor. Chen Ge picked up the hammer and walked out of theater. He walked up the stairs to the second floor, but he did not enter it. Instead, he stood at the top of the stairs and looked at the exit of theater. In just 5 seconds, a man's face popped out of the theater. He strained his ears to listen for a while, and after confirming that there were no abnormalities, he immediately ran into the darkness in the distance. 2 footsteps rang out in the silent night. Before the man could walk far, someone pressed down on his shoulder. How could you leave me there alone? When Chen Ge's voice entered the man's ears, he felt as if he had been struck by lightning and was stunned. I didn't find the location of the main switch. Let's go together. Chen Ge helped the man back to the second floor and turned on the main switch. With a bang, all the lights in the theater flickered for a moment. I just want to watch a movie here and find my missing friend. That's all. If you keep getting in my way, I can only assume that you have something to do with my friend's disappearance. He turned on the power supply, and the projector started on its own. The man then turned on the hard drive. After the hard drive was loaded, he raised his head. You can choose whatever movie you want to watch, but I have to give you one last warning. Do not watch horror movies, or you'll be in big trouble. Watching a movie in a private theater was only the first part of the Left Oculus's trial mission. It was already 2 a.m. If he did not end it soon, Chen Ge might not be able to complete the rest of the mission that night. With that in mind, Chen Ge scanned the playlist and decided to pick the shortest movie. The black phone only asked me to watch one movie here, but it didn't specify what kind of movie I should watch. Chen Ge would not make things more difficult for himself. He wanted to find a heartwarming literary or animated film, but when he clicked on the playlist, he realized that all the movies could not be played. The message said that the movie was incomplete, and he needed to download it again. After searching for a long time, Chen Ge realized that only horror movies could be played normally. Thinking back to what the man had said, Chen Ge was confused. Is this the work of someone? Or is there something that has ruined the resources of the other movies? Quote. Flipping through the playlist, he found something even weirder. Chen Ge owned a haunted house, and to find inspiration, he often watched horror movies, but he had not heard of any of the horror movies on this playlist. These movies are different from the ones on the market. The name of the director and producer on the cover are all the same. Chen Ge clicked on the cover and memorized the name of the director. Chong Ji-yu. Is that a stage name or his real name? Quote. Have you decided? The man's hands kept shaking. There was not much change around him, but he felt more and more unsettled. It felt like if he stayed there for too long, he would be haunted by something. Alright, I'll play this one with the shortest duration. Most horror movies were around 1.5 hours long, but Chen Ge saw a movie that was only 25 minutes long in the playlist. The movie's name was Deskmate. 5 minutes before the end of the mission, the movie officially started to play. All the lights in the private theater went off, and a blurry image appeared on the screen. I'm a blind man, so I won't be accompanying you. This is my phone number. Call me when you're done, and I'll pack these things up. The man read out a number for Chen Ge. Chen Ge keyed in his phone number and called it directly. A buzzing sound came from the man's pocket. He was not lying to Chen Ge. After witnessing the panic of so many visitors, Chen Ge could tell that the man was very afraid. After knowing that, he was even more unwilling to let the man leave. The man had to know something, but he was unwilling to share it with him. Don't be in such a hurry to leave. If we stay together, we'll be able to take care of each other. Chen Ge helped the man to the seats. Considering safety, Chen Ge chose the seat closest to the exit. I'll pass. Shush, the movie is starting. Watching a horror movie at the theater and watching it at home were two completely different experiences. The feeling of being wrapped in darkness was something that could not be experienced at home. The sound of a heartbeat entered his ears, and it was followed by heavy breathing. On the screen, a large eye slowly opened, and the shadow of a woman could be seen inside the black pupil. The camera slowly moved up to look at the study table. The alarm clock showed that it was 4:30 p.m. The sky outside the window was thick with dark clouds, and it was suffocating. A storm was coming. The whole movie appeared to be shot from a first-person perspective, and the image that the camera captured was the image that the main character saw. Chiume. Someone kept shouting a name downstairs. The camera moved, and the main character climbed out of bed to walk to the window. She opened the window and seemed to poke her head out. The camera captured the scene downstairs. A girl in a red jacket was waving at her.